moving on to the next matchup that we saw this past weekend, 100 Thieves versus Clutch Gaming. Holy crap. Long games. I did not, actually, I really did enjoy, but at the same time, I wish it was less of a heartache or such, like, I was sweating bullets. It was crazy. 100 Thieves squeak it out 3-2 with the win against Clutch Gaming with a 75-minute game or something like that for the fifth game.
It was close to like 80 minutes, I think.
God, holy crap. I think the crazy stat that they said Hakuho put out like 190 bindings that last game on Morgana or something like ridiculous. Holy moly.
Because they did the like over under the analyst desk does, and it's like, oh, well, how many bindings do you think Hakuho will do? They said, oh, he'll hit, whatever the number was, and it's like he only got 2 games out of the 5 to play Morgana, and he had like 200, like a total of like 190 with 200 something, and it's just like, what the fuck? Like, this guy's nuts. What the hell?
All right, so when it comes to the games, they're very scrappy. They kind of were close, and then eventually someone would get the advantage somehow throughout a team fight or an objective or something. What can we take from this matchup?
So I think one game was not close when it was a Clutch Gaming win. No, I think it was one of the Clutch Gaming wins. Okay. Game 4.
Yep.
Where it was like, ooh, 100 Thieves are gonna win. First of all, I want to say, I had the correct game score. I thought this was going to 5. Everyone else was like, hell, this shit ends in 4 max. And I was like, no, don't put disbelief in a Clutch.
But you picked the wrong team.
Yeah, I picked the wrong team. I think if I pick 100, Clutch would have been like, fuck you, Manny, and they just pull off.
Yeah, thank you, Manny. They just needed one more non-believer. They needed one more.
They felt like I don't know, like this series, I watched the whole thing, but it felt like it was just one game.
Yeah, they all felt like, pretty similar.
They all felt like it was like the same exact game. Like I feel bad for Fevbin, because imagine getting a 4-man like ultimate 75 minutes into the game, but because the entire opposite team is tanks, you just don't get to do anything. They all walk away Warmogs, and it's like, well, we just lost the game. I thought it was like super unfortunate. And I want to give a lot of credit, and again, to Clutch Gaming. I said this last week when we were talking about them beating TSM. This just cements even more that it wasn't necessarily TSM sucking, even though it's a mixture of that, right? And I think if TSM played at their best, they could have still won. But a lot of credit is due to Clutch Gaming, right?
Yeah.
With that same token, 100 Thieves should be scared in the sense of they had the bye. I didn't think the bye was good for them, and I think it showed, right? They kind of were like missing this like on-stage presence, and I mean, they're full of veterans aside from Cody, but I think they're all veterans at this point, right? Like what they've all gone through. It's just so scrappy, and against a team like Team Liquid, I don't know if scrappy is good enough, right? It's kind of tough, but I still believe in them, but it's definitely on the tougher side, right? And like I mentioned before, I would feel more confident as an NA fan if Team Liquid went to MSI aside from 100 Thieves. But props to them. I also almost nearly called them out because they switched their jersey color, and I was actually going to research. I was going to do the research of every time a North American team changes their jersey for international events, how poorly it ended up going.
Well, it's going to be positive because NA always screws up at international events anyway. So
yeah, but I mean that's why I was like, how many times have they changed like colors of their jerseys like halfway through or whatever, and how many times have they lost? And I was like, holy shit. I think it was ballsy. I think it was kind of preemptive. I don't think it was the right call, to be honest. I think if you do that for finals, that's fine. But I think going into semis, I thought personally was a little distasteful. But I mean, it ended up working out for them
so
but
far.
That was kind of like the other thing I thought about. I was like, I don't know if that's the right call.
If you're at least a little bit superstitious, even like, don't change it. You're doing fine. You're 9-1 on the black jerseys the last 10 weeks. Just continue with them.
On the same point, though, you are led by Nadeshot, so it's like, I mean, he just kind of does what he wants.
Yeah.
And so he's one of the flair, as you know, like far as leading teams goes, like he's out there, he's very high on social media and like putting content out there and like bringing in all these fans. I'm with Manny though. I don't think right now is the time.
I don't think so either.
No, I think if you make the finals, I'm all for it, right?
Yeah, I don't even think so. No,
I mean, again, that depends on like your superstition and stuff.
Yeah.
But I still think like at finals, going for that championship white, sure. First of all, calling it championship white when you're in semifinals and you take it to 5 games.
I forgot
like
about the name.
I think it was I just think it was completely distasteful. I think they look nice. I don't love them. I've been kind of like on the side of Sam of like, I'm not like a huge fan of baseball jerseys. I don't hate them. I think they can look cool. I think you can open them up and have them more of like a overcoat type of thing, right? And they could look cool, but it's just I don't know. But the whole color changing and stuff, I was kind of like that made me cheer for Clutch a little bit more because I was like that's fucked up. That's jumping the gun, right? And I didn't think it was too hot, but
sure
they won.
Overall, though, I think it really showed that 100 Thieves, like lately, they have looked like pretty dominant, and then now they're showing weakness again. And a little bit of that is, in this series, they just didn't play 100%, but then also Clutch Gaming was playing even harder.
Yeah. Something that I'm wondering about, because like I think part of it is just the team comp. So when you have that many tanks, and then Febivin was playing, he played a 0-1 game, and Oriana, so you got some wave clear to stall out the game. Then with all the Warmogs, because of all the tanks, like I think just that's how games evolve with this. And on top of that, because of so much respect for Hakuho's like Thresh and playmaking champions in Morgana, like I feel like Afromu couldn't do what he's good at. Like he had to play Braum, and he had to like counter the Hakuho pick instead of like he was hovering Bard for one champion select, and I was like, oh please, like you couldn't see him play like a Thresh or anything else, any playmaking, and therefore it was just this weird like 4 tanks and Cody's son. And I just feel like because of how pick and bans went, and because there was so many tanks, it just got scrappy. And I'm not sure, like let me know what you guys think about this, because I'm not sure if that's just because you have that kind of team comp, that's how these games just end up turning out. Like you just stall until someone makes a big enough mistake to break the game open, or it's just like they should have found a better way to play those comps and find openings. I don't know.
I feel they should have, like, both teams, it was very scrappy, but there was moments in those games where, okay, right now we can sneak a dragon. Right now we can sneak a baron. Like, stuff like that. Like, there was, times where, like, they had vision disparity. So you should have been set up better for some of these fights. To where I feel like they could have made their own win conditions and like set up for them instead of their win condition being on a mistake.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, oh my gosh, I wish people would take more Baron. Like, I understand it's like, oh, they have 4 people, their junglers, or maybe not the jungler, their support's dead, so we don't want to take the Baron, but we're flirting with it. Like, just go for the Baron and take that 60-40 and just like have confidence in your jungler. But oh my god, I didn't see that at all.
And that's why I'm excited for this Team Liquid versus 100 Thieves, because Team Liquid will be like, hey, there's a 30% chance we lose this. Fuck it.
I got it. Hold my beer.
Yeah. It's like Impact is like, meet Cho'Gath. What the fuck? And he just eats it and wins the game for them. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of things showed. I think the team comps, I mean, that's kind of like the meta. And I usually, from as far as I remember playing, I've been playing League and watching League. I'm usually the last person to say, like, I usually tell people, don't fucking blame it on the meta, stop being such a crybaby, whatever, like tanks, whatever. I think Warmogs needs to be changed because it just got so boring, right? Like I watched that game till the end, but I was just like, again, in no other scenario does that work. Right? Yeah. No other scenario do you just barely live a 4-man shockwave, leave for 5 seconds, come back, you're full health without having to use TP. It's just, I'm not gonna say, oh, Clutch got robbed. The game is how the game is, right? But I think Riot should consider changes towards Warmogs, make it an active, right? Where it has a separate cooldown. Regardless of that, I think the faith that you had put towards Cody's son, great. But again, it goes back to the one-dimensional. I don't think we really saw too many options from 100 Thieves. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it honestly always felt like, well, Cody's gonna be our carry, right? I mean, yeah, you had one game where it was like, Ryu play Rise, fuck it. We'll give Fevaven his best champion. Ryu, you pick up your best. Worst mistake you could have fucking done. Holy shit. I was like, probably you said yourself you would ban Azir no matter what. Why did you not ban the one fucking champion you can't give Fevaven? It's like, what? It was just interesting. I mean, I think Apollo played really good. I think Hakua took a little bit longer to warm up than his previous series, and I think Solo played well under pressure against Someday.
Yeah, Solo.
But again,
great.
I didn't see like Someday being like that monster that we want him to be. That like, oh, he picked Darius, like he's going all for it, right? And it's kind of disappointing to me because I don't think you win through bot lane against Team Liquid aside from things we've mentioned, right? Yeah. I think it's tough to win. Can you do it? Fuck yeah, you can. Doublelift has shown times that he's made mistakes. Ole has kind of been inconsistent. He was a very big letdown throughout the series. But if you put both of those bot lanes in their A game, I take Doublelift and Ole every single time. Yeah. Just mainly because Doublelift just had some fucking crazy plays, right? And he kind of like thrives in the spotlight, but I don't know. I mean, I was pretty disappointed with the 100 Thieves. I did feel like the series was going to be close from the get-go, right?
But not this way.
Like when I was watching, I was like, oh man. I was like, fuck, this should have been just give me the 3-0 stomp. Get me out of here.
I'm telling you, man, I don't like bye weeks. I hate bye weeks for teams.
I mean, that's why I think some people have said if you breach number 1 and number 2, you should have the option if you play of first week or second week. And I'll explain myself, right? And it's like if you're the number 1 seed, right? So let's say 100 Thieves are like, fuck it, we're on a high. Let's play the 6th seed. That means TSM gets the bye week and they have no option about it. they have no choice unless you're number 1 and number 2, right?
Mhm.
They're the two that choose. So if you're Echo Fox, you're like, yeah, we'll take that extra week, but you still have like the dynamic seeding. I think that would be pretty cool,
That would be
especially
interesting.
if you're in a high like 100 Thieves. Like if 100 Thieves played this series last week, or yeah, like 2 weeks ago now,
Mhm.
I think they 3-0 Clutch Gaming. Or possibly 3-0, because I mean Clutch played out of mind. But
Yeah.
I think it might be something interesting to explore.
All right, cool. So that went long. I love talking about 100 Thieves, but